Long live the young at heart. You know who you are. With your spirit burning, take a risk and take a chance.
Good morning from Germany. Today I am going to be answering one of the biggest questions I keep getting about Germany. People ask about my experience and they're like, what is the biggest thing that you have learned since coming to Germany? And I always kind of get stuck on that question because for me, I don't tend to learn big, huge lessons. I tend to learn those little ones, and then they'll just like pop up all over the place and they just seem so small and insignificant, but they just blow my mind. So one of those small ones that keeps popping up is just how important context is in everyday life. For example, I'm in a bus and I look over and there's a Porsche right beside us. And I'm like, oh my goodness, it's a Porsche. And that's what I've always called it all my life. But a few years ago, a friend said, it's not a Porsche, it's called a Porsche. And I was like, why is it called a Porsche? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I didn't get any answers. Sometimes I would call it Porsche, sometimes I would call it Porsche, like it would always kind of depend. And so then when I saw this car, something clicked, and all of a sudden I realized it's called a Porsche because in the German language, they pronounce every single letter of the word. Because of my upbringing, I always thought Porsche was supposed to be Porsche because you don't pronounce the E at the end of a word. However, if somebody was brought up in Germany, they would see it as Porsche because you pronounce the E at the end. This was like mind-blowing to me, and I was so excited because I realized there is a reason why it's called Porsche. It's not just to be difficult. It's because it was built in a different context than what I grew up in. It's all about perspective, right? So yeah, context plays a really important role in whatever we do in our life, and I think that that's just a really important thing to remember. For myself, it's like you meet people and they might be jerks to you, and you're like, man, why are you so mean? But then you realize that in their context, they might have had a really rough day. And sure, that's no excuse for being rude. But then again, we can just love them back. Big deal. They treated you like you didn't want to be treated. That sucks to be them. I'm sorry you're having such a bad day, right? But yeah, I think moving to a different culture, you realize that there's so many differences and you're like, that is so weird. Why are they doing it like that? What are they doing? They're crazy. It's just coming to realize that they're not the crazy ones. You might be the crazy one, and it's just what you've grown up with. It's your culture. It's your community that you're used to. I never quite considered how different a culture as close to Canada as Germany seems to be. How different it can be, just so many different things. It's really good for me to remember that. So I'm in this beautiful forest. It is lovely. I am propping my phone up against this lovely little hunting shelter. There's not much better than a beautiful forest. Like, oh my goodness. Guys, I've never lived in a forest before. So this is insanely exciting. Like, it's so beautiful. As beautiful as Canada Falls are, I've never experienced a fall this beautiful. Like, the leaves stayed colorful for so long. And it was just incredible. Like, yeah, in Alberta, it always just freezes so fast and blows all the leaves down, and there is beautiful colors, and then there is gray and brown because of wind. So yeah, it's pretty great.
Beat by beat, breath by breath, walking hand in hand, step by step.